And on domestic commodities market update, we're looking at the price of PMS in relation to the agreed cut on global oil production. And I'm being joined by Isat Dahoud, one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company. Good afternoon, Isat. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the price of PMS has been cut twice in 1 month by 15.5% to 123 naira 50 kobo based on a falling oil price scenario. Now, is this new price sustainable as oil prices begin to rise after the OPEC Plus meeting?
This new price may be sustainable. However, the price mechanism, I'm certain, will be sustainable because the initial cuts, the previous cuts were all based on modular mechanism because the fall in the price, the cut in the price of PMS in Nigeria was as a result of the fall in the global crude oil prices. So if OPEC and its allies are able to further successfully increase the price of crude oil in the global market, that is, they're able to cut down the supply such that it's below its demand, this new price will not be sustainable. However, the price mechanism whereby happenings in the international market, that is, if there is an increase in the Brent crude price in the global market, the pump price in Nigeria will increase. But if there is a fall in the Brent crude price in the global market, pump prices will fall. That price mechanism will be sustainable in Nigeria. And it's not only Nigeria that is currently practicing such mechanism now. Other countries are also practicing such mechanism.
So what is the impact of the petrol price rebate on the disposable income of Nigerians?
The price rebate currently, the price rebate of 21 naira 50 kobo, that's the difference between 145 naira and 123 naira 50 kobo that the PMS is currently selling, will impact consumer disposable income in a way. Let's look at the scenario. So on an average, Nigerians consume 60 million liters of petrol daily. So at the rate of when pump price was formerly 145 naira, consumers were spending 8.7 billion naira daily to buy petrol. So now that it's selling at 123 naira 50 kobo, they'll be spending roughly 7 billion naira on petrol now. That's a savings of 1.3 or 1.4 billion naira daily. So they'll have more money at hand to buy other things.
Now, will this temporary increase in disposable income due to the petrol price rebate be enough to actually compensate for the recession-induced contraction in aggregate demand in Nigeria?
This temporary increase, like I mentioned before, consumer disposable income will slightly increase, or they would feel an impact. They will have more money to buy other things. But this temporary increase is not sufficient for this induced. Look at it. Let's look at it. In 2019, aggregate demand in Nigeria was $475, million dollars. But now we are forecasting a 10% decrease in this aggregate demand, and this price rebate is not the only factor that determines or that impacts consumer disposable income. We also have exchange rate adjustment, and recently the CBN, we depreciated our currency, and at the parallel windows, $1 to a naira is 417 naira or thereabout. And so this exchange rate adjustment is going to impact disposable income negatively by 3 trillion naira. So 3 trillion naira against the 1.3 billion that we are saving daily. So 1.3 billion naira that we are saving daily from consumption of petrol. If we multiply it by 365 days, that's approximately 475 billion naira daily. So comparing that positive 475 billion daily to 3 trillion naira negative from exchange rate adjustment, that's a huge, difference. So consumer disposable income would, be affected negatively, even if we are saving some. So aside exchange rate, we also have the reduced VAT revenue government will be expecting because of the partial lockdown. Because of the lockdown, economic activities are not as they ought to be. So government revenue would decline. We'll see a decline in government VAT revenue. Instead of 900 billion that they'll be expecting from VAT, we'll be expecting about 300 billion naira from VAT. And aside that, unemployment is also inclusive among this. So this temporary increase is not sufficient for this induced aggregate contraction in aggregate demand.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, Aisat Dahoud. And global oil market prices rose more than 1% in early trade after the main U.S. energy forecasting agency predicted shale output in the world's biggest crude producer would fall by the most on record in April, adding to cuts from other major producers. Brent futures rose 53 cents to $32.27 a barrel after settling 0.8% higher on Monday. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 32 cents at $22.73, having dropped 1.5% the previous session. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, along with Russia and other producing countries known as OPEC Plus, agreed over Easter to cut output by 9.7 million barrels per day in May and June, equal to about 10% of global supply before the viral outbreak. The United States, the world's biggest producer, is reducing output as well, and other countries are taking the estimated cut in production to about 19.5 million barrels per day. And that's a wrap on the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Chimizi Obi Iwago.